All right, how's everybody doing? Guys, today we're going to talk about some things I've picked up at flea markets and antique stores in the last 2 weeks. I usually make my videos on a Saturday, but last Sunday I went shopping with my buddy J.O. and picked up some items with him. And then yesterday and today I went to my local flea market out here. But before we talk about what we picked up, I definitely want to shout out J.O. for inviting me over to his local flea market over there. It was a great time. So be sure you check out his channel. He's got the J.O.'s Sack Pack. He'll also be tagged in the description of this video. And then we're going to talk about J.C. Mountain Ajar. He wanted to do a sticker swap, and I thought that's what we were doing. But he sent a couple of real awesome items. As you guys know, I collect about anything Zippo. He found this awesome tape. Guys, these little 6-foot tapes are just awesome. It's got some advertising here on the front of it. Got the old Zippo here on the bottom. Bradford, Pennsylvania. You can't beat items like this. They just don't make stuff like this anymore. And with this, he also sent this Peruvian Palo Santo wood. It's from Peru. It's used let me see, used during prayer and meditation. If the scent fades, you just shave off a little scent or a little sliver and get that scent back. But he sent those two awesome items. I'd greatly appreciate it. So you guys be sure, check out his channel. He's, I'm not sure how many subs he's got. I know he's under 500. So we need a lot of people going over there and subbing to him. He actually did a video the other day on his lunch break. He went home and cleaned up a knife on his lunch break. So you always got to appreciate stuff like that. But now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about knives that we've gotten the last couple of weeks here. I'm going to move these around a little bit because I want to go in order. So last Sunday, I got all of these right here. And then over at my local flea market, I got these items that are going to be over here. It's kind of sitting for right now. But we'll talk about these first. J.O. actually, he knew a guy who usually sold knives out there, and he said, let's go hit him up first. So we walked down there, and he had the goods, man. He had a lot of vintage USA, like these three items here. And if you look at this Schrade Longhorn, man, 1975. Carbon steel, just a great, awesome Stockman. Got the LH for Longhorn in it. You know, you got the Longhorn here, and it's also serialized. I can't see it, so apologize for that. Got your spade blade with the LH on it. But guys, so we're going to look at that one, and we got another little Stockman here. I believe this is this is a Sears Craftsman, and it's older because it's carbon steel as well. And I actually have the larger of this right here also in my collection, so that's always great. It's got same wood, same bolsters. So when this gets cleaned up, because I haven't touched any of these. The only thing I've did is oiled these. So I'll actually clean all these up and add all these to my collection. So if they got a little dirt on them here and there, it's because I haven't cleaned them up yet. But then we got the Western 426. And what was funny about this one is I went ahead and bought it because he sold me all of these for $10 a piece. So I got all these three knives right here for $10, but I knew that I had already got a new old stock 426 coming from eBay. You know, $20 for this. The seller made me an offer to buy it for 20 bucks. So it's just a great blade. But all these right here are just for $10 a pop. Vintage USA knives. I'm going to pick them up every time for a price like that. Now, what's cool about this one here is, look, we got one spring that's probably stainless and another spring that's carbon, which is kind of particular, but I'll get that cleaned up. And then you got the Western. Let's look at this. So it's got the Western USA. So this is like a 61 through 76 knife. Carbon steel. And you just can't... $10 a piece for these three. You know, you had $15 a piece on them, and I said, hey, I'll give you $30 for all of them. And he said, deal. So then after that, we walked up the hill a little bit, and I got there a little bit before him, so I walked around a little bit, and I said, hey, up the hill here, there's a guy who's got some knives but he didn't have a price on them. So we went up there and seen him, and I'd seen this there earlier, this Gerber Gator. Gerber 650, Portland, Oregon, USA. USA, awesome blade. It just needs cleaned up a little bit. I said, what are you asking for this? He said, $10. I said, sold. Just, it ain't the most fancy knife. It ain't got a leather sheath or anything, but this USA package right here for $10, I mean, come on. Tight lockup. There's absolutely zero wiggle. Little half stop action in there too. You can actually hear it go into the half stop. So I spent $40 at the flea market. Okay, so there's what I bought at J.O.'s flea market, $40 up here. I'm like, this is going pretty good, J.O. And then we drove around. We went to a gun show, and we went to a couple antique stores. But at one of the antique stores, he said, I know in the back there's a copper lock, and they want $75 for it. I said, how long has it been there? He said, it's been there a long while. I said, let's go look at it. Well, we went and looked at it, and he really wanted it. And he said, Jerry, I know you want this. He had bought this Western on a work trip. He had got this for like $10 and cleaned it up. And I really, I'm not gonna lie, I did want it. And he said, if you can get that copper lock back here at a decent price, I'll trade you the copper lock for the Western. And I said, let me work my magic. So I got up there, because he said the guy would be willing to call the owner of the actual knife, because it's one of those places that, people that want to sell stuff bring it in, and there's the shop workers that are in charge of selling the items. So I said, can we look at that copper lock back here? And we went back here and looked at it. I mean, it was tight. If you look at I'll actually tag J.O.'s video in this video so you can see that knife. And more than likely you've already seen the video, but just a tight, crazy, floating 3-dot, so 1997 copper lock. I believe it was pocket worn red, and it was in spectacular shape. And like I said, they won $75 for it. And the guy who actually owned the actual facility, was the one who opened it for us. And he goes, I know the guy will take 10% off. I'm approved to take 10% off. And I said, and that brought down to $67.50. And I said, listen, I got $60 in my pocket, and that's all I'll give for, $60 cash. I'll give you $60 cash for it. And he said, well, let me call the guy, because J.O. had told me it had been sitting in there for a while. And anytime something sits like that, no one's making money. Shop owner ain't making money off of it. The owner of the stand ain't making money off of it. So I said, hey, $60. He called the guy, and the guy was like, yes. So I paid the guy the $60. We went out to the truck, and we traded right there on the spot. And I got this awesome Western S533, and it's got the actual Western with the cross, the sword cross in it. You just cannot see it very well with the lighting in here. You might be able to see a little bit, but with the time and polishing and stuff, that's going to take that off there. But it is a B, so it makes it a 1978 knife. Just a spectacular specimen. And since he only had $10 in this, and it's time for cleaning it up, he said, don't feel right, I want to give you this one here too, to make the deal square. And I was like, sure, bud. It's a Schrade, New York, USA, little Stockman. And it's got great walk and talk on all the blades. And just a great little Stockman vintage USA knife. So these two I got in the trade that day. These are what I bought at the flea market. So let's put all these to the side over here, and let's talk about what I got at my local market. Just down the road here. I went last night. I bought 3 knives last night, and then James Stork was like, hey, I'm going to be there in a little bit. So I knew me and Sarah had to go grocery shopping, so I was like, let me see what I can do. And we got home, and I said, hey, I want to go out to the flea market and talk to James. I had something I want to talk to him about anyway. So she was like, sure, let's go. But this is what I got last night. Let's start with what I first picked up. I always give away my 8OTs. He had 2 of these. This was an older one. It don't have the plus. Carbon steel. Straight New York, USA, 80T. Just has a little bit of schmutz on it. Nothing a little polished. Like I said, I haven't cleaned these. I've just oiled them. But man, this thing is, it's just a good knife. Look at that spay. You know, it's got a little bit of gap right here. He had 2 of them. This one had the better walk and talk. The other knife had 0 gaps. And I actually, when I went out there today and James was out there, he was actually paying for the other 80T. So he had bought the other one. So I got this for, I think it was for $40. Yeah, $40. He wanted 48. He gave it to me for 40. Then he had brought out a roll. He always has a special roll of knives, and he opened it up. Inside was this old Buck 301. You know it's old because it has the Buck made in USA on the tang stamp. And just look how clean this knife is for its age. Got the straight long nail pull, which I always dig. All the blades are full. Has a little bit of scratching on it. Like I said, you are going to see oil because I did oil all of these, but the blades are full. They're just a little bit scratched. Back springs are fairly tight. Looks like we got some gappage here, but that don't bother me. For a knife this old to be in this good a shape, any day. He said, I'll give you this one for 20. I said, okay. And what's funny about this one, now we look at the tang stamp on this. The Buck made in USA. Well, J.O. had some knives for sale once from a guy he worked with or something. He had this 303 with the Buck made in USA. And he actually gifted this to me. I was going to buy it off of him and he wouldn't take the money. So now I have the 303 and a 301 matching knives here with that Buck made in USA. And someone had gave me the date on when they did that, and I cannot remember for the life of me. I want to say it was the late 60s. So but I'm not 100% sure, but it's cool that I have the 303 and the matching 301 now. Look at this, you know, they both got the slanted bolsters. Just great blades. And I love these 4-inch Stockman. You know, if you look at them, they're like 4-inch blades. Well, maybe a little bit shorter, I don't know. But they're just, I call them 4-inch Stockman. Well, then, in that special roll, he had this. He had these separate. The knife and the sheath were separate. But look at this folding hunter. Now, we got a little bit of peppering up here, so you know it's carbon steel right off the bat. And again, I put oil on it, but we got the Schrade USA 25 OT. Now I'm gonna polish this up so all this dirtiness look here will go away, but I don't know if this thing was ever used. I mean, it definitely wasn't sharpened ever. Maybe just stored wrong. You know, I can clean all this up and get all that off there, but look at the centering on this bad puppy. I mean, it's right down Broadway. Look at that. It don't get any better than that. For a knife this old, I'm not sure what the date is on it. Maybe someone can tell me, but, and look at this one. Look at the Skinner blade. Never sharpened. Factory edge on this thing. No scratches from going through bone or anything. But what I like about these is, look at the collar. I mean, it isn't white yet. Sometimes you see how it's lighter down here. Both these have pretty good color. And this has lost some down the bottom, but look how dark this one is on this side. This side's lightened up a little bit, but so he had this and he had the sheath separate. And I said, well, if I buy this, I want the sheath. And I already knew I had $60 here. And I said, we think an even 100 here? And he said, yeah, sure. So had 100 in these. Now on these over here, I did have to pay tax on the copper lock. So I had 105 in this set, 100 in this set. So altogether that's $205. But then today I went back over to Lee's stand. We're gonna have to move this stuff up here. And he had something last night, and I really wanted this for a while, but I just hadn't pulled the trigger on it. But he had this Western Camel, so we know it's 1992 through 2007 at least. That's when Camel owned Western. I believe that's the correct dates. But got the Whitetail Unlimited. I forgot to cut the price tag off of it, but he had 48. He had dropped it down to $48. He said he'd give it to me for 40. But it's the R16 USA stainless Western. Look at the finger grooves in this thing. I mean, it is a polymer handle knife, but you gotta remember, you know, Camel's got this company and had to work on getting some profit out of the name brand. But it's so dusty from where the flea market's got a dirt floor. So if you look in the actual thumbnail of the video, you see that the floor is dirt. So I don't know if the knife's ever been in this sheath, because this thing is like tight. And of course, you know, you got the paperwork. How to care for your Western knife. It's a lot of stuff here. I'm looking to see if there's a date on it, but I probably have to read through a lot of stuff here if I could even find one. But made and printed in the USA. It says down there. Customer service. Wonder if we can get a hold of them. So I had $40 in that. So altogether this weekend I spent $140 at least. But so altogether we got $245 in all these knives, and I'm not sure how many knives we got here, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 knives, $245. So I got all these for $24.50 a piece on average. So I'll take it. I'll call it a win. Let's put that like that for now. But it was I really wanted to get me some more bone handled knives, but they're just, he's got some case knives out there, but I've got them all. I don't, you know, for my case, I've been getting mostly older stag knives here lately. Even if they're a little scratched up, I'll buy them and I'll clean them up. But that's what I've been kind of chasing here lately. But there's what I got. There's what I got, and I got these 2 sheaths here. Then also, like I said, I got this, but it's come from eBay. And then also got a Craftsman lockback. It's similar to an LB7, but I'll show that later. But again, I got to thank J.O. for inviting me over. Thanks very much, J.O. I want to thank JC Mountain and Jar. Be sure you check out his channel. Go give him a sub. Like I said, he's going at home during his lunch break and cleaning up knives. So I appreciate that when people put hard work behind these blades. Thank him very much for the Peruvian wood. My wife was smelling that the other night and really liked it. And then, of course, the Zippo tape measure. All right, guys, that's going to be a video for the day. Again, I'm only doing about 1 a week anymore. That's all I got time for. So, but there's my 2 weeks worth of flea market and antique shopping. All right, let me know what you think.